Welcome to the Morning Track Power Hour. I'm Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll be recapping the NFL's wildcard playoff weekend, as well as the college football playoff semifinal. We'll talk a little bit about some changes expected to the Kauffman Stadium for the Kansas City Royals. And we'll also be previewing next week's NFL and college football playoff championship. Mike, we'll kick off today's show talking about the NFL's wildcard weekend. Any game in particular excite you the most, or did you even bother watch some? Maybe the question should be more like, how did you enjoy your NFL wildcard weekend? Did you pay attention to all of it, watch a little of it, or gravitate towards one game? How did you watch wildcard weekend?
I kind of paid attention to most of the games, at least somewhat.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't watch each of the games the whole way through, but I followed all of them. There were a lot of really good games. The last two games turned out not to be as close as the first four. The Steelers ended up getting blown out by the Texans, and the Chargers
But late though, it wasn't
late. Yeah,
a blowout like from the beginning, right?
it was a
Yeah.
low scoring defensive game. Most of it, I think it was 10-6 going even in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
uh, and and then the Chargers then ended up they just didn't score any points against the Patriots, so that was never much of a game either.
But it
It was
was also really low scoring
low
too.
scoring. So the unders turned out to be good for me. That was probably it. I ended up picking out basically every wrong game. I don't think I picked the winner of any of the six games. I picked some upsets. My big upset pick was the Panthers. I thought maybe could pull it out against the Rams. The Rams um, ended up pulling it out at the end against Carolina. I got the spread right on that one at least,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, it was tough. It was a good weekend for you. You ended up picking all the games correctly, all
On the
the
spread at
on
least,
the
which is
spreads.
kind of
Yeah, on the
rare,
money
but
line you
yeah.
got 5 out of 6 too. So so you did ended up doing really well. It was just a bad week for me for picking the predictions, but the games were good. It turned yeah, I was a little surprised. This it was one of those things where when we talked last week, we were talking about how much the regular season meant and how much we could just predict going in. So it seems like, the Bills won, you know, against the Jaguars. Everybody, thought probably going into the season that Jacksonville wouldn't be as good as Buffalo, so that's what happened. But then,
Yeah.
in certain situations, some of the teams in the regular season played like they did in the regular season, like Chicago coming back in crazy fashion to beat the Packers. That was at the beginning of the season, we would have thought the Packers would have been the team to beat.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the Bears just kind of got lucky in a lot of games at the end. And this is one of those games that it seemed like it just followed that script. The 49ers Eagles was an interesting one. You think the 49ers were, decimated by injuries, but still able to beat a talented Eagles team, but one that had, very little going for it offensively for some reason this year.
Yeah,
Uh,
for a lot of the season, yeah.
it was yeah, so it was a yeah, I couldn't quite predict how it would go. It's interesting now because we have in the AFC uh, only we don't have any, we have no teams that have quarterbacks that have gotten to a Super Bowl. Uh, in the NFC, we have one team who has had a quarterback that's gotten to Super Bowl. That's the Rams. Um, and the Rams
Oh,
have a tough game.
the 49ers, didn't Purdy play in the Super
Oh,
Bowl?
Purdy. I guess as one, yeah, Purdy's gotten to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's Purdy. Yes, I always forget about the
But, but
49ers
it wasn't,
story.
it was like in the year that he didn't like begin as, he like was thrust into the starter role, right?
No, this was his first. It was the first full year of starting.
Oh, that was that year. Okay.
Yeah, Purdy got hurt
Oh, right. Yeah,
that
yeah.
was the first Eagles year. Purdy got
That's
hurt in
right.
the
Yeah.
championship game, uh, and then but yeah, this that was his first year as his full year as a starter. I still think of San Francisco as not being a team that's gonna make it, but it seems like
Yeah,
they so in the NFC there's a little more playoff experience. So you have Stafford who's won the Super Bowl, and you have Purdy who's been, and then nobody's even been to the Super Bowl in the AFC. Uh,
yeah,
and you think it's got to be again, this is the best chance that Josh Allen has to make a run this year because he does it's Bo Nix this round. It'll either be CJ Stroud um, or Drake May
Drake
in the
May, yeah.
championship. So Buffalo's got to, even though they're going to play on the road both games, they've got to feel pretty good about their chances. Um, so I don't know. Is there other? Is this just a really wide open playoffs, or other favorites you think that are
I don't. Yeah, I think. I mean, I think yeah. On paper, Buffalo should be the favorite, but yeah, I don't think they're actually playing like the favorite, though. I think they don't feel like a team that is in control, though. Do they? To you? It
not
seems like
really?
I always
Yeah,
thought it seemed like Josh Allen is like taking like unnecessary risks constantly in situations he doesn't need to. I have never been impressed by him. Like he's a good quarterback. I just wish he wouldn't put himself and the franchise at so much risk all the time by calling his own number and stuff like that, like when it's unnecessary.
that seems to be kind of what they have. I guess all this year they have Cook, who's the leading rusher in the league. So
So
they,
use
but yeah, but it seems like he doesn't. In crunch time, it's still got to be Josh Allen. Um,
Yeah, but he does it like on second or third down sometimes too. It's like I'd rather just have him do it like when it's like the last resort rather than when it's unnecessary. Because I mean, he went into the tent like two different times I think during the game, and once was because for a potential concussion. So, and that was early too, when it didn't matter for him to be
yeah.
doing what he was doing then. And then, yeah, what did you do? You think that that one play though? Did you see the tush push that they got like 10 yards on
hmm
play? That it should that I mean that right there should be enough video evidence to get rid of that play, right?
I think this year maybe it will. I think
Because that was nonsense. Like that should never be happening, right?
it should be blown. The whistle should be blown before
Yeah,
that.
I mean, like as soon as somebody pushes the other player, pushes a player from behind, because they're just like blatantly
Yeah.
walking, like putting like a guy like in the fullback position who literally comes up and all he does is just shove the quarterback forward. It's like that cannot be allowed. That's like it's the most ridiculous play in sports, and it just seems like yeah, Buffalo is one of those teams that's like willing to like push it as far as they can, basically, to because they get so many, you
hmm
know, it seems like there's somebody in the league office that's putting their thumb on the scale for them. Whenever a rule comes up, if it favors Buffalo, they're going to, apply it. A lot of the overtime rules have changed because Buffalo lost in an overtime situation against the Chiefs, right? So those things happen. I know that's what drives me crazy about the NFL. Stuff like that happens, and but you know, what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? I guess change the rule between during the off season.
Yeah,
It was close to changing this year. I think maybe now it's going to have enough um, push to get it done. But yeah, this was an interesting first round. It actually led to a coaching change. Mike
yes.
Tomlin resigned as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers after 19 seasons. Just after the game, it seems like maybe Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat, maybe Nick Sirianni even on the hot seat. So maybe some more coaches will change. I think there's like 9 coaching openings right now across the league. Um,
So Mike McDaniel from Miami was also let go after we talked
After
last
we
week.
broadcast last week, yeah. So yeah, I think there were 7, and now there are 9 with McDaniel. And And McDaniel's already had interviews with, I think, Cleveland and some other places, and um, of course John Harbaugh's had interviews. But it seems like Tomlin isn't going to coach next year. I think his wife may be ill. Uh,
Oh,
I had heard something about that. I don't know if that's true or not, but
hmm. I think
uh,
there are like some like what the contract issues. I think for him too, though. I think he's because he resigned. I think they his rights are still retained
mm,
to like play out the remainder of his contract unless they work out some kind of deal to separate that.
I see.
So I think if he was going to coach somewhere else, I think he'd have to have, release from his contract too, which is a little different. If he's fired, then all the
Mm,
paperwork is terminated with it too, right? But if you resign, I think that stays intact until it in effect becomes like a non-compete, right?
yeah,
I think is how they handle that in the NFL.
yeah. So we have
But yeah, 9 coaching openings. When
nine
was
coaching
that?
openings. It also makes Andy Reid the longest tenured head coach now of 13 seasons. I think there's a couple other coaches, like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are actually the second longest tenured with 9 seasons each now.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody else is LaFleur, maybe is 9 or something like that, or is close to that. But yeah, it's interesting how things change. You wonder what's going to happen with the Chiefs coaching the carousel. You think because Matt Nagy's been interviewing for some of these head coaching positions, a lot of also offensive coordinator positions seem to be popping open as well. So you wonder who the Chiefs are going to get for their next OC. I've heard a few different. Some people think it's going to be somebody like Cliff Kingsbury or uh, Davis Webb. Have you heard that name pop? Do you remember Davis Webb, former quarterback at Cal, who was actually a Texas Tech teammate of Patrick Mahomes, who ended up
Hmm.
transferring when Mahomes got the starting
Oh, I don't remember that.
job.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
and then there's a Nathan Shielhasa,
Hmm.
uh, a Rockhurst high school graduate who is the passing game specialist, offensive assistant for the Rams right now. Nathan Shielhasa. I don't know how he says his name. It's
Hmm.
looks Scheelhaase. Um, but
It sounds like how you pronounce it, like via the German pronunciation, right?
yeah. I don't know if he says Shielhaas or Shielhasa. Uh,
Right. Yeah. How does he pronounce it versus how
yeah,
would you expect it to be pronounced just based on the origin of the word,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But he was a uh, Rockhurst High School graduate. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, I mean, he played. Yeah, he's only 35 years old. He was the Iowa State running game coordinator, running backs, wide receivers coach in 2021-22, and 2023 he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach before he went to the Rams. So he has some Iowa State connections. He's actually
Rockhurst in Kansas City and
in Iowa State. So
in Iowa
28
State.
from 2018 through 2023 he was at Iowa State,
Hmm.
formerly at Illinois as well.
Hmm. I don't remember hearing that name though, but that doesn't mean anything.
He was the 2008 Missouri Gatorade High School Player of the Year at Rockhurst.
Hmm. Hmm.
He was yeah, looks like he was a 4-year starter as quarterback at Illinois. He holds the Illinois Fighting Illini football record for career total offensive yards,
Hmm.
career passing yards. Uh, yeah, then he was worked under Matt Campbell and then worked uh, under Sean McVay and of course he's getting the most out of Puka Nacua and
Well,
the Adams and that group of wide receivers. So Seems like he's doing a pretty good job. So he might be an offensive coordinator candidate if the Chiefs decide to look outside the normal, um, the Chiefs tree of coaches, which
Right.
I think both of us think that they should because we think it's getting the offense has gotten a little stale over the past few years.
Yeah. You're kind of hoping for the Cliff Kingsbury though, right? Just so you can.
I would actually just like Mike McDaniel as well. I think that would be a good pick.
Yeah.
McDaniel ended up being a uh, offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Is that
Somebody
what he
like
was? Was he an offensive coordinator before?
he was the coordinator for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, he was the offensive coordinator. He was the run game coordinator first, then the offensive coordinator
Hmm.
before he became the head coach of the Dolphins.
Hmm. So with now Miami and Pittsburgh's coaching positions open, uh, is the Baltimore job still, you think, the best job that's open right now, or is it something else?
Maybe you could say Pittsburgh is a pretty good job. Miami's not a bad job either. There's a lot of decent jobs. I think it'd be funny if Harbaugh went to Pittsburgh and um,
Yeah.
maybe if Tomlin went to Baltimore. If that was still a possibility, they could switch teams.
Right. Just flip.
Yeah, yeah. Or if Harbaugh went to Cleveland, that would also be funny because he'd leave one Browns franchise for the other
Right.
franchise.
Yes.
Um,
So
but going
are you hoping for that scenario just because it's
hoping
kind of
there's
funny?
I've seen the Giants and the Falcons as possibilities for Harbaugh as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he'd be a good pickup for whoever, but yeah, this is a really wide open year. It seems like there might be some weird hire. I mean, there's going to be some weird hires, I think, that people aren't going to expect. So, uh,
Yeah. You think there'll be more like college coaches considered for NFL jobs, or do you think it's mostly just gonna be like a rearranging of deck chairs scenario? What's your
it
guess?
seems like college coaches don't go to the NFL as much as they used to.
Yeah.
And like it's like the Shielhasa, they leave early to become an assistant rather than it's not like the Indiana coach was Signetti. Uh, I don't know if he'd be a candidate for like the Steelers or something like that, but it seems like he's going to stay in. It seems like the college coaches stay in college now, and it's the assistants that kind of move between the two, and then
Get promoted after they've been assistant
other
at the
than
highest level.
yeah. But yeah, I don't see a college coach unless it's I don't know, maybe Dion or something. Maybe he'll throw his hat into the ring for one of those open positions. Maybe he'll try
Yeah.
to coach the Browns or something because of Shador. Uh,
Right. Well, it makes sense. He's kind of moved along with them
mm,
with his sons, right?
yeah,
Historically already, right?
but yeah,
Yeah.
it's be interesting to see what happens though.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see. So yeah, I've seen Stefanski has had he's maybe getting interviews as well to a lot of teams. Um, and the Packers again, so it seems like maybe even a couple teams that are in the playoffs right now, the Packers and the Eagles also might have openings. I don't think Sirianni is going anywhere, but the Eagles did get a new offensive coordinator. Um, they just hired they fired the previous offensive coordinator. Uh,
Yeah.
so um,
Okay, so do you think either of those jobs is more likely to become available, or do you think none of those jobs, neither of those two jobs will be available, Green Bay or Philly, by the
Green
time
Bay's
it's said and
more. I
done?
think Green Bay is more likely.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
little harder for them to make decisions though, right? Because they have like a committee that
I guess
decides
the
things
Eagles
too.
haven't had us. They haven't hired anybody yet for their offensive
Hmm.
coordinator. I thought that they did, but no, they're considering supposedly Cliff Kingsbury and Kevin
Hmm.
Stefanski uh, as offensive coordinators if they don't make if they aren't head coach candidates.
Hmm.
But that's not Brian Dable, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Greg Roman got fired from the Chargers offensive coordinator position just after the game, yes, a couple days ago.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of names out there that are experienced offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy, maybe we can hope Matt Nagy will go to one of those teams. Um,
Right.
Eric Bieniemy is out there as well.
What about Spagnuolo though? Are they thinking he's likely to stay, or is he
I haven't.
still?
I've heard he had a interview, supposedly with Tennessee, but I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything new with Spags lately. So maybe that's a good. It seems like everybody's looking for the young hire at this point. Still,
Yeah.
the last older hire, I guess, defensive hire was um, what's it? Well, the Pete Carroll for the Raiders, and that didn't work out.
Right.
Terribly well for the Raiders. So maybe everybody's looking for young this year. Um, but we'll
Hmm.
see what happens. Um,
Yeah.
we did briefly mention Indiana coach Signetti, whose team looks like they're the favorite to win the college football national championship, playing against Miami on Monday. Uh, do you think the game's in Miami? Indiana is 8.5 point favorites, I believe. Do you think Indiana is going to roll, or do you think Miami has a shot at taking down Indiana? Indiana looked really good against Oregon.
Oregon.
Miami had a tough
Yeah.
game against Ole Miss. That game could have gone either way.
Yeah. I think it was a late score from Miami to take the lead too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, Indiana just romped on Oregon, who'd played really well prior to that too. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it seems like the line is pretty big, but I'm not sure that it's actually big enough. I think I'm leaning pretty heavily towards Indiana so far. How about you? What are you thinking?
I think Indiana will win as well. It seems
Yeah.
like they haven't been challenged very much so far, and there might be this year's Ohio State. But I think that Ohio State ended up being challenged a little bit in the championship game last year against Notre Dame, even though it seemed like they should have just rolled. But um, so maybe it'll be closer than it seems. It's going to be in Miami.
Right.
Miami is the road team, but it's as the number 10 seed. But it's going to be in the Orange Bowl or in Hard Rock Stadium, whatever they call it nowadays.
Right.
So
It's
yeah,
basically a home game.
home game for them. But Indiana's going to have a lot of fans there because
Yeah.
this is the first time they've really been really good in a long, long time. So
Yeah, so what's more appealing to you as the story though? Is it like Indiana kind of coming out of nowhere from like never really being relevant as a football program to being dominant leading into the title game, or is it the resurgence of Miami from I think we remember Miami being really good,
yeah,
like when we were probably teenagers, I guess. But
yeah. And then in the 80s and the 90s and then the early 2000s, Miami was one of the top. They won
yeah,
4 or 5 national championships at least when we were kids. Yeah, I
yeah,
think the resurgence of Miami is a big story, but I think the Indiana one's a bigger story because they were historically one of the laughing stocks of uh, NCAA football. So
yeah,
and now,
the doormats, right, for
yeah,
decades, basically. It's
yeah,
it's
I
impressive.
remember,
Like
yeah.
that.
I'm trying to think of the Indy. Yeah, I think Antoine Randall L was probably the last big Indiana player that made it into the NFL. Uh,
Yeah, I did
um,
not remember that he was even from there. So
yeah, he played for Indiana. I guess Michael Penix Jr. also was in Indiana before he went to Washington. So Indiana's had maybe a decent team the last few years, but really with Signetti, they've been dominant. But they also have a lot of older guys, I think, on Indiana. They get a lot of because like the way that NIL transfer windows and things like that work. People stay in college for like 4, 5, 6 years now, so they get a lot of the older
Yeah.
players that are beating up on the younger kids. So maybe that's why they're winning. But
Yeah.
they're doing it the way that is working for him. So
Right.
Mendoza has been pretty good too. So yeah, I think he's had more touchdown passes than incompletions in the 2 games
That's insane
uh,
for
that they've played.
this deep in the season too. Yeah.
Yeah, against Alabama and um, Oregon.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's yeah. I guess I'm leaning Indiana's way as well. It was the team I predicted, one of the 2 teams I predicted as the my futures bets. So looks like maybe
Yeah.
2 years in a row my national championship pick will come to fruition. They
Pretty
weren't my
impressive.
first choice because I was interested in the Texas Tech kind of underdog story, but
Yeah.
Indiana was I think the safe pick after, especially after Ohio State was selected by you. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so we have um, that football looking to look forward to, as well as the uh, NFL football coming up next week. But before we talk about NFL football, do you want to talk a little Kansas City Royals baseball?
Sure. What do
What
you?
We had one big story that came out
Yeah.
last couple of days. The Royals are going to reconfigure the dimensions of Kauffman Stadium. I believe the center field is staying at 410, but the some of the other outfield walls are getting lowered and brought in several feet in order to create perhaps more home runs, more exciting fielding plays. Um, and I think they supposedly they consulted with the analytics department in making this decision. Are you excited
Right.
about new dimensions of Kauffman Stadium, Dr. Scott? They're also adding maybe a couple hundred more seats to the K. Um, what do you think of this new? When we were kids, they brought in the fences at one point, and then they moved them back, and now they're I guess
Yeah.
bringing it in again a little bit.
They've kind
Yeah.
of reconfigured like how the bullpens are arranged and stuff like that. But yeah. But yeah, this is kind of a dramatic change, though, I guess, right? Because gonna move like it's like 10 feet, I think, in from right and left field in the corners. So
Yeah, I'm not
it'll
exactly
be
sure how those dimensions are gonna. It's not
yeah.
because it's perfectly symmetrical and it's kind of a rounded
Hmm.
outfield. I think it's going to be more of a
Yeah,
straight.
it'll be more of an extreme angle. It must be right from
Yeah,
center field to the corners to
yeah.
make
So
the
it's
corners shorter.
yeah. I don't know if I don't know if 330 is it going to be less than 330 in the corner now?
I thought that's what it was saying that they're or is it just 10 feet? I heard they said they were going to bring it in 10 feet in the alley, power alleys. I think too. Maybe it's just going to be more extreme at the top, and then
Okay, let's see. I'm going to read.
it almost has to be narrower at the corners, though, right?
Okay, so the wall will come in 8 to 10 feet starting near each foul pole. The gaps will go from 387 to 379.
Okay,
Back towards center field will remain 410. Height of the wall will also change from 10 feet tall in most places to eight and a
eight
half
and
feet.
a half. Yeah,
And 150 seats will be added in left field and about 80 new drink rail seats in right.
yeah. I don't.
So,
Yeah, I mean, like the added seats. I don't think that really matters too much. Probably they're probably not going to be filling the stadium, so
well, it's nice that they're
it,
adding
it,
seats, I think, in case games do sell out. Because it seems
yeah.
in most stadiums the trend has been having fewer seats.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've talked about, when if they build a new stadium for the Royals, that it will be fewer seats than the current
Yeah.
configuration for Kauffman. Uh, but yeah, I mean, you can't really add front row seats. I mean, what used to be the front row seat is just
Mhm.
not no is no longer going to be a front row seat, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think that really factors into any of this, but I don't know that it's going to be an advantage for the Royals though. The Royals team has always been sort of configured to play to the dimensions of the stadium, so they've
Mhm.
tended to be a pitching heavy concept with speedy, athletic defensive players in the outfield to cover lots of ground. But I don't know if this is going to help that
Yeah, I don't
situation.
know. It might back. I could see it backfiring pretty easily too. Um,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe they have some kind of analytics that shows that the Royals have hit more warning track, have more warning track power, I guess, than other teams do. Maybe over the course of the season, they would
it
have
will help.
been
Yeah.
plus a couple of home runs over their opponents, but I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised if it backfires for the home run counts.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. Might as well try something, especially you have a new stadium supposedly being built in the next few years. I think they want to have a new stadium in 2031. So
Yeah.
where that's going to be, hopefully downtown, if it's going to be anywhere, but
Right.
or North Kansas City, which
It sounds like it's the Clay County people sound like they're fed up with the Royals. I don't
uh,
know. Did you hear that story recently?
no.
Somebody like one of the Clay County executives had said that they were done dealing with the Royals. It's
Hmm.
been apparently unpleasant negotiation, which negotiations between entities frequently sour quickly
Yeah,
if
yeah. Well,
both parties aren't finding ways to agree very quickly, right? The longer it takes, the more likely one side is going to get fed up with it.
mhm.
Sounds like Clay County is there
Hmm.
already. But again, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Anything can change at any time. If the right package presents itself. But yeah, I don't know. Do you like the concept of the new Kauffman Stadium configuration? Though, do you think it will make some more excitement?
I don't know. I guess maybe that lower walls will make it easier for outfielders to like rob home runs and things like that rather than
Yeah.
so maybe that's fun. I don't know how much it's really going to change things. I think people will I guess they I like we mentioned maybe 20 years ago they reconfigured this stadium as well um and they moved the stadium. They had moved the fences in at one point, and that's when they gave up all these. They gave up a lot more home runs, and they were terrible. And they moved them back, and they got a little bit better because
Uh-huh.
they gave up as many runs. So I don't. Yeah, I'm a little skeptical that this will actually help the team. Um,
Yeah.
so I worry that especially a team that's built on pitching, um,
Pitching
and
and athletic defense too, right? They've sort of been specializing in defense, and this sort of takes away some of that advantage, right? By having the cavernous sort of park.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to
Uh,
see. We'll see what happens. Um, so do you want to move on, talk about the divisional round? So we had six wild card games over last weekend. We had the Rams in the NFC. The Rams defeated the Panthers. We had the Bears defeating the Packers, and we had the 49ers defeating the Eagles. All three of those teams advancing to the divisional round along with Seattle. So we have Seattle hosting the 49ers, and we have the Rams
the
traveling to,
rematch of their Week 18 game just
yeah, yeah,
2 weeks
basically.
ago.
And we have the
Yeah.
Rams traveling to Chicago for the NFC divisional championships. And then we have um, in the AFC, the Bills are going to go to Denver to see face the number one seeded Denver Broncos, the sixth seeded Buffalo Bills, and then we have the fifth seeded Texans at the second seeded uh, New England Patriots. Which of the games do you think is most likely to result in a upset? Do you think all four road teams could win this week, or do you think
Hmm.
it's more likely? for all four home teams.
Yeah, I think the real yeah, the real risky home team though is probably the Bears, right? Because you don't know if they have another comeback in them, right? Because they're probably going to end up behind
Mhm.
because it's against a high-powered offense in the Rams, but it's just yeah, can they hang around long enough to keep it close? I think they're the only home team that's an underdog, also, at least as of now.
Yes, they're three and a half
It's
point underdogs right now to the Rams. Um, Denver is only 1.5 point favorites over the Bills. That's the closest. Uh, the other game, and it's a 3 point home favorite. New England over Houston, but the big favorite right now is Seattle by 7.5 over the injury depleted 49ers. George Kittle went down. That's probably the big
mm,
injury line. He had an torn Achilles against
yeah,
um, so he's gonna be out for a whole year probably.
most
Uh,
likely.
a torn
But yeah,
Achilles
so even more depleted than they were
going
two
into
weeks ago when they
yeah.
faced them before and got blown out basically by Seattle, right?
Yeah, they couldn't score any points against
Yeah.
so um yeah, so let's we want to talk about each of the games one by one and see which way we're
Sure.
let's maybe we'll go in the order. The first game Saturday, the 3:30 Central Time game is Buffalo at Denver. Denver's favored by 1.5 points. Um yeah, do you like Buffalo in this game? Because Josh Allen is against Bo Nix. Josh Allen is the most accomplished quarterback in the AFC left. Uh, and we have relatively inexperienced quarterbacks at the number one and number two seeded Denver and New England. Um, so is this Josh Allen's best chance at getting to a Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, it's by far his best chance, but I don't think it's gonna happen though. That's my guess is that it's not he's not gonna get through Denver. I think Denver's defenses will understand how to deal with him a little better than some of the other teams they've that have faced him recently too. So Denver's team seems like, borderline criminal at times how they handle
Hmm.
things. And uh I'd be surprised if Josh Allen's able to get through the game the same way he's got through some of the earlier games. How are you seeing this one? Do you think Buffalo's going to roll through it, or
I think Buffalo's going to win.
yeah,
I think this Denver team actually looks a lot like some of these older Kansas City teams when
yeah,
when the Chiefs didn't have a great quarterback, but they had a great defense and they were the number one seed.
yeah,
And then they hosted playoff games and oftentimes lost in cruel and heartbreaking fashion to teams with better quarterbacks. Um, I could see that happening. I think we saw a preview of this a few weeks ago when Jacksonville won at Buffalo. Not Buffalo, Jacksonville won at Denver a couple
hmm,
weeks ago. So maybe you could see Buffalo doing some of the same game planning. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think Denver's a good team, but I don't know if they have the high end quarterback play that you really need in the playoffs. And if and that's something that will be interesting to see if you actually need high-end quarterback play this year in the playoffs because all the high-end quarterbacks are, other than Matthew Stafford, really are sitting on the sidelines. It seems like
yeah,
in the
they're already out, yeah.
already out. So um, maybe you can put Caleb Williams in that category now, or Sam Darnold, but and C.J. Stroud maybe. But he
Yeah,
played terribly though against Pittsburgh, and they still won big. So it wasn't a
right.
performance through the ages. That game. But yeah, I like Buffalo. I think I'm leaning Buffalo just because I think if not now, never. And I think that's sad for Josh Allen if it's a never. Uh,
I don't think so.
you don't care for Josh Allen. But
I'm not a fan.
but isn't your how about isn't your Denver hatred trump your Josh Allen hatred?
You would think, but it doesn't.
Doesn't.
No, I thought it would too, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, so you like
It actually
Denver?
turns out that yes, in the hierarchy of my dislike sports figures, Josh Allen has eclipsed Denver. Yes,
Okay, so
yeah,
you're leaning Denver. I'm leaning Buffalo that game. The late game on Saturday night is San Francisco at Seattle. Seattle's favored by 7.5. Um, so in this game, we have maybe a spread pick and a win pick. Do you think it's going to be closer because I could see maybe Seattle winning, but I think it'll be a close game. I don't know if I'd go Seattle minus 7.5. That seems like a little too far for me. But I'm not sure
yeah.
who. And you don't really want to pick against Purdy, the way the 49ers have been very plucky in the playoffs. Trent Williams, it seems like will be back. He was gone in the
That's a
last.
big difference. Maybe as big of a a gain as Kittle is as a loss,
Yeah.
but
But Darnold has been very good, and Seattle's defense has been very strong. Um, I'm leaning Seattle to win, but I think it's going to be a close game. That's my pick for this.
yeah, I think I'm gonna be kind of hoping for San Francisco to win, but I'll probably be betting on Seattle. That's probably how it's gonna end up coming out. But
Okay.
it'll be one of those that I'll be okay losing the bet if right
Yeah.
if San Francisco pulls it out. I'd like to see them advance, but I don't expect it. Nah.
Okay. Well, moving on to the Sunday, Sunday games. We have Houston at New England in the early game on Sunday. Houston is 3-point underdogs in New England. Houston, though, has been playing really well the last couple months of the season. Finished with a 12-5 record, winning, 10 out of their last 11 games or something like that. They were really strong towards the end. Um, who do you like between Houston and their strong defense and New England with a fairly untested still Drake May, I believe they did come out on top against the Chargers, but that was against Justin Herbert, who has had playoff struggles, also had a broken hand. Um, who do you like in the Houston New England game?
Yeah, and they had a fourth place schedule too, so they've
Yeah.
really not had to play hardly anybody. So this is maybe their first test of the year, and it's still not even that big of a test, right? It's kind of only like what you expected to be like the lower part of the upper tier, I guess, in Houston, right? Like we thought maybe they were like a fringe playoff team, I think, at the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
but we didn't expect them to be, you know, a true Super Bowl contender,
Yeah, you
but
thought you'd have the Ravens and the Chiefs up there and maybe the Bengals even
yeah.
and
And
not
maybe somebody would emerge somewhere, but you
Bills.
still probably would think that maybe somebody else would pop up over
Yeah.
Houston, even, right?
Mhm.
But I think because New England played such a weak schedule that yeah, I'm favoring Houston so far. So yeah, I think I'm leaning Houston's way in this one.
I might be leaning Houston as well. It depends on the weather. I think if the weather is cold, that will favor New England because New England is,
Yeah.
it's in Foxborough. But this isn't Tom Brady leading the Patriots. It's Drake May, and we've yet to see him, really against high level opponents other than maybe the Bills. They split the games against Buffalo, I believe. Um, but they played like they play who they play. They beat who they can. So they had a good.
Right.
But I I'm thinking a little bit like I am with the Bills. The Texans have been to the playoffs the last couple of years. They've won playoff games the last couple of years.
Hmm.
Uh, so maybe this is their chance to win one more of those games. So I wouldn't be surprised if the road teams won both games in the AFC, and then we have
Yeah.
a uh, and if the road teams win both games in the AFC, that leads Josh Allen down to Houston, and Allen has had traditionally very little success against the Texans, especially in Houston. So that would be a very difficult matchup for him. Uh,
Yeah.
I also think that seeing a Texans Super Bowl team is pretty blah as well.
Yeah.
Um, I don't.
Yeah, I don't really care about any of the teams in the AFC, honestly. Like,
This is one of the, I guess,
yeah,
lowest lackluster playoff groups that I've seen in a while. Maybe it's just
yeah,
'cause it's starting it, but like the high upper echelon, some of the upper echelon teams just weren't there this year. Even
yeah.
in the NFC, you didn't have Detroit making it, who was probably one of the top uh teams going in. You thought
And had gotten like right there the last couple of
Mhm.
years, right? Like working their way to that being that like favorites in the
Yeah.
NFC, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm leaning towards Houston as well. So I'm gonna say Houston. I'm gonna say Houston Buffalo. You like Houston Denver.
Hmm. Yeah.
How about the Rams at the Bears? See, we talked a little bit about that before. You thought maybe the Bears, do they have another comeback in them? Because the Rams, if they get up, they probably won't relinquish the lead as easily as the Packers did their lead. But
Yeah.
will the Rams, how well they play in the cold weather? Uh, it's another long road game for them, but Stafford has experience. Um, yeah, so
Right.
the Rams are actually 3.5 point favorites at the Bears. So you think the Rams will if not only win, but they cover
Yeah. What the spread's what, 4.5? 3.5.
3.5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it could, I mean, it could be a pretty close game, but I think, you only get so many comebacks generally in a year. I think the Bears have already had more than basically anybody has, right? Over the course of the season, like within like the last minute, being trailing in the last minute of games, and they win like seven of those games or something this season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty crazy, but I can't imagine that that's the way that you expect to play. So yeah, I can't rely on that scenario happening again. Can you know how many times can you get struck by lightning, Mike?
Well, multiple times
Maybe
apparently, but not
maybe plus one, however many plus one. I
yeah.
think I'm leaning towards the Rams for right now. So I don't. I think I did pick the Bears in the last one, but I don't think I can pick them again. I feel like I got lucky enough with the pick that I would move on.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I see the um yeah, I think the um I think the Rams are the pick here. I think they're the better team
Yeah.
overall the course of the season. So I think the NFC West has been the best division in the NFC. So I see an NFC West matchup as the NFC championship. So it's gonna be either Seattle hosting the Rams or the Rams hosting the Niners for the championship. I think is probably the most likely.
Yeah,
Uh,
one team from the West has to be in the NFC Championship game, right?
yes.
At least.
And the West is guaranteed to no, I guess the West isn't guaranteed to host if the Bears win and the 49ers win, it could be
Yeah,
Chicago
it could be in
hosting.
Chicago. Yeah.
But
So just a quick glance at the weather forecast for those two cities. It looks like it's not supposed to be snowy in either place, but yeah, 18 in Chicago, mid 30s in New England. Does that affect your picks then?
18 in Chicago,
Yeah,
mid
it's
30s New
pretty cold.
England.
That's pretty cold for
It's
LA
pretty
teams.
cold for an LA team. Yeah, well, LA has historically played pretty well in the cold weather against um, Green Bay and some other teams. So I don't know if it'll really matter. And I don't know how much it'll really matter. Again, I don't because I'm not sure how good a cold weather team Chicago actually is either. Uh,
Yeah,
where their offense is more of a high-powered throwing offense. Uh, and I'm not sure Caleb Williams is not the cold weather grizzled veteran
you wouldn't think.
either. So I don't know if it's really it's an advantage. It's a home field advantage for the fans, and you wonder how the Chicago fans will be into it. but you don't know if the team will play necessarily better. Um,
Yeah,
and the Rams are, a lot of their players have been to the Super Bowl before. A lot of them have been in the playoffs before. The Bears, it's all new to them. So again, it
yeah,
could be experience versus inexperience.
yeah, very possible. Yeah, you could say, Stafford is, played in Detroit for years too, right? So he should be used to the cold, but they play inside though,
They
right?
play
So
inside, but
yeah.
they went to Chicago and went to Green Bay all the time.
True, true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. But he has been in LA for a few years now, right? So that's maybe he's
Yeah,
forgotten what the cold is like even, right?
that's right.
No. So yeah, will you be spending this weekend, Saturday afternoon through Sunday evening, glued to your TV watching these games?
I won't be. I don't know if I'll be glued, but I'll watch the games. I have other.
Check in on them at least?
I will definitely check in on them and be interested in seeing how they turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try to watch as much as I can of each of the games, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm not as interested in these playoffs because the Chiefs aren't in them, and also
No.
'cause I think there's not a lot. There aren't as many compelling storylines in these playoffs as there have been in previous years either. With some of the teams that are in it, it's just their teams aren't quite as exciting. Maybe the Bears maybe are an exciting team, but they aren't that good. You don't think either, though. So. Uh,
Right.
they kind of lucked their way into the second seed. Um, the
Well,
Rams,
and you've got New England too, who like didn't really have a tough schedule either, right? So they have,
yeah,
there's two of the remaining teams are ones you don't have a lot of confidence in, and they're home teams with their seeds, right?
yeah. So it'll be
Uh,
interesting to see what happens, though. But yeah, we'll find out who the final four is after Sunday night. Then we'll see the AFC NFC Championship games the week after that. So we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season to determine the champion of the National Football League. Um,
and we'll be continuing to make our picks on the big board for all of the games. I think next week we'll start mixing in some prop bets too, which we have not been
Hmm.
doing during the course of the season, but we tend to add those in when we get to the conference championship round.
We will, yes.
And then we'll have our betting spectacular,
Yes,
the Super Bowl,
our
where we make
first
all kinds of crazy prop bets.
non-Chiefs Super Bowl betting spectacular. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see what we do on the betting spectacular this
Yes.
year. It won't be quite as
Maybe.
spectacular, I don't think,
Yeah.
as the Chiefs. But
In some ways, maybe that's okay because we'll be less homerism. Because like we tended to go really heavy on Chiefs
Mhm.
props, and
and,
if the
and
Chiefs
when the
played well, they did okay. If they had a bad
yeah,
game like last year, then we basically lost all of our props, right? So
yeah,
yeah, but you know, we won't we won't be having that, yeah,
yeah.
homerism.
I'm a little bit happy the
Yeah,
Eagles are out, so
I'm
that
okay.
will
I'm okay with that too, Mike.
yeah.
Now, yeah. So are you approaching the what's remaining of the playoffs, hoping that you teams that you dislike exit early, or are you rooting for somebody more than you're rooting for an exit?
It's one of the few times I think I'm actually rooting for one of the NFC teams this year. Usually I root for the AFC, but I'm also thinking of
Yeah,
Mahomes' legacy. I don't really want Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl. I certainly don't want the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. Uh,
yeah.
I don't want New England to win another Super Bowl. And if the Texans won, that would be one of the most boring Super Bowl champions. So that I guess if I had to pick one of the four teams in the AFC to win, I would pick the Texans. Uh,
To at least make it to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
the lesser of four evils, I guess. Is that what you're
I would
saying?
if I could pick any of the teams to win, I'd pick the 49ers to win.
Yeah.
But I think they've been close and they've had a lot of injury bad luck, and I think Purdy's had some good stuff. So if the 49ers somehow pulled it off this year, that would have been a great victory for them. So I guess I'm sort of rooting for them, even though I think it's probably a long shot. But a Bears win would be fun too. But I don't think the Bears are Super Bowl quality. But I guess any team right now, it's one of the teams has to win. So
Right.
uh, it doesn't matter how really good you are. You just no matter one team will win no matter what. That's just how the tournament.
Yeah.
So
And teams are only they're only 2 wins away from a Super Bowl at this point, right? So
yeah.
they you only need two more last minute wins, I guess, if you're thinking it from the Bears perspective.
Hmm.
What's two more? You've already had what, seven or something? So
Yeah.
what's two more?
That's too much. Well, we'll find out next week how well we did in our predictions. We'll find out also the winner of the national championship game in the NCAA college football playoff. We'll see whether that's Indiana, like we both predict, or whether it'll be a somewhat surprising Miami resurgence as the national championship, as the national champions this year. So we have all that to look forward to next week. Should we wrap up this week's episode of the Power Hour?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we've this is a fairly short power hour this week, but one where we don't have as many games to talk about. Um, we didn't end up branching out into pop culture as much this week either, but maybe we'll figure out something for next week. We'll have some shows to recommend or some um, movies to watch or something like that. But until we do next, we'll figure out that as we get to it next time. But we'll keep our focus on the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, and on the college football playoff, and any NBA, NHL, MLB news that is worth considering because we'll start pivoting towards college basketball also once the
Right.
Super Bowl is over. That's when we usually start. And also start talking about the beginnings of the Major League Baseball season. So it's not too far away from the spring. And then we
Oh,
also
not
will have
really.
NBA and NHL playoffs talk about once we get into April, May, June. So we have all that stuff to look forward to. So we're wrapping up one part of the sports year to get to another part of the sports year. So just
Yeah.
how it works here. It's here at the
Right.
Power Hours. Uh, so as always, I'm Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Ader Scaff. We are the Warning Track Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms, including the one you're using right now or you've used in the past.
Or want to use in the future?
Yes, any of those. Uh, So, we thank you for your viewership, your listenership, your patronage. We also wish you the best of luck this weekend as you make your bets, as long as your interests not conflict with ours. Seems like we kind of have telegraphed a little bit of our interest, but we haven't made our bets completely yet. So, uh, and Dr. Scaff had a wonderful weekend in the wild cards. He's going to try to keep up uh, his profitability streak in the
Yeah.
divisional round. I'll try to rectify my bad picks last week and make up for them this week. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what happens. We'll review the divisional games next week, and we'll preview the AFC and NFC championship games next week as well as talk a little bit about the college football playoff. Um, and anything else that catches our eye. So, from all of us here at the One Track Power Hour, we wish you a good day.